Hi, Carla Bauchmüller here, founder of the Intuitive Writer. We all know writing is not a linear process, but in my teaching, I've always tried to really make it as linear as possible. So like really, what step do you need to take first, and really make sure you've got these things down until you take the next one, etc. And I wanted to lead you through this process in the coming weeks. I'm just starting with the first one today and give you some ideas of what can you really start with. What's the thinking behind starting with exactly that? And what does that mean for you? And also, what does that mean depending on where you are at in your writing and in what discipline you are, etc. Right? So let's start with the very first one. That's the 4 basics of center writing. And I always start with that. I start with that in my academy, but I also start with that when I teach clinics, etc. I find that that really is the foundation, right? The basics, the 4 basics of center writing. It's literally that. It's a foundation that you need in your writing, and you need it independent on where you are at or where you feel you are at in the process of your writing, of what level of experience you already have, and really like checking in with yourself. Do I really have that? Yeah, so let me name the 4 basics first, and then I think that'll make more sense. Soft eyes is the first one. That's peripheral vision. I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of them in a moment. The next one is breathing. Right? And that's when it really starts making sense. Breathing, if we just hold our breath or something like that, nothing much really works. The next one is centering, so finding a center position of your pelvis. And then the last one is balance. And again, like nothing works without balance. So when you think about these 4 basics, then it makes sense that even if you are able to write whatever a tempi flying changes, or something like that, or even if you are a trainer, you will always have to come back to this. And when you're a beginner, you should really learn these things first. And everybody in between has to kind of always check in with themselves. Am I still breathing? How is my peripheral vision going, etc. And I find that that's oftentimes underestimated. I will oftentimes forget that we have to really go back to these basics over and over. And it's not just basics, it's really the foundation of whatever you are doing. Yeah, so let me lead you through these 4 basics just briefly. I'm just going to do this in a nutshell right now. So the first one, as I said, is soft eyes. That means using your peripheral vision. And if you've received my emails and saw my work, you've probably seen this exercise where I have you like look at a finger and stare. We can just do that here for a second. So when you look at a finger and you stare at that finger, and you feel how your breathing changes and how the connection of your seat bones to the chair changes when you start staring like this, opposed to when you soften your gaze, meaning you're literally, it feels like you're softening the eyeballs in the eye sockets, and it's softening, opening the gaze, peripheral vision, you're still looking straight ahead. And when you then feel your breathing and the connection of your seat bones, you will feel that is definitely a clear change in how you're perceiving yourself. And that's the really short version, right? So you can go back after this video and just go through this much more slowly to really experience the difference, and also experience that when you're writing. Yeah, so but you can tell when you have the peripheral vision down, when you're really staying in that soft gaze, you will feel yourself differently. And from that, you will be able to communicate differently with your horse, perceive what's happening in him, and then being able to respond in a different way as well. Yeah, so it's this constant feedback loop between what's happening inside of you and what's happening in the horse, and how can you really communicate this way, like from your body and mind to your horse's body and mind. Yeah, so that's the soft eyes. Then breathing, can't really go too much into this right now, but you can just imagine, right? When we've all been there, when we're holding our breath, we lose all the connection with our seat bones to the saddle and to the horse. We kind of lose the chance to really communicate in any way, because we got mute internally from this, right? Like holding everything in instead of staying in the softness and awareness of your body. So breathing, really important. Just for now, again, like in a nutshell, just observe yourself. Like, how are you breathing? Are you really breathing evenly? Are you really using your entire torso for your breathing, etc.? Just a little bit of self-observation can already make a difference when you think about breathing. The next one is centering of the pelvis. So you want to really find that centered position of your pelvis where it's the kind of the neutral position where you would feel the seat bones more or less pointing down. That would be neutral. And then I always want people to be in a little bit of a tilt back. And if you worked with me before, you remember this image of the dragon tail, like a big, heavy dragon tail hanging from your tailbone down, so that it lengthens your spine and just gives you that millimeter extra little tilt, so that you're really engaging your core muscles. Right, so that is centering. Again, is much more to this. Just wanted to give you an idea of the things to work on first. And then balance, that means the overall balance. How am I aligning my body parts? Is my head above my shoulder? Is there kind of a line falling through me? What I always think about is when I get sometimes people's photos or videos, and when they send that to me, the first thing I look for is, would this rider be standing on the ground if we Photoshop the horse out of the photo? Yeah, so is that rider really kind of standing on the ground with feet flat and all the body parts aligned on top of each other like building blocks? Yeah, and if that's not the case, then we have to change that up. But we're not just mechanically changing it up. Sometimes it's much more important to keep the pelvis in the center position, even if your feet are not exactly under you, etc. Right? So it's more the overall feel. But again, balance also a huge topic. But just giving you an idea. Okay, that is something to aim for. Like Photoshop the horse out of the photo that you have, and then see, just again, self-observation. Get a sense of where you are and where your balance struggles could be, right? And then you usually fix them by fixing the centering of the pelvis first, really making sure that the pelvis as the really center of your body is in the right position, and then you worry about maybe shoulder, etc., and feet, etc., right? So these are the very, very first steps to take. One that I find really super important, that's kind of underlying the 4 basics as well, which is not even the 5th basic. I think it's really just everything really underlying, like the foundation of the foundation, basically, is the clear intent, right? Which is called clear intent in center riding. Clear intent meaning you have that mental image, you know where you're going, you have a plan, but it's not a plan that you plan your entire lesson or your entire ride. It's more the intent in your body. Where am I going? At what speed am I going? Right? How can I really make kind of mentally tell my horse where to go? Yeah. And so I find the more people understand that concept, the less they actually have to do with their hands and legs, etc. Right? But because then lots of things just happen because you are clear in what you want to do and achieve. And then when you've trained it a bit, your body will follow that, and then your horse follows that as well. Okay, so that was really just in a nutshell, the things to get started with, right? Where you really want to make sure and check in with yourself. Do I have that? Right? So, find out, check that out. And in my academy, you can get the first week for free. It's a membership, but you can get the first week for free. So in case you've just come across something that was like, oh, I think I would like to know a little bit more about breathing, for instance, then, sign up for it, hop in there, check that out. And then if you don't like it, or if that's enough of information that you just wanted, then you just shoot me an email and I'll cancel it for you. So, and the Academy has 2 different tiers. So the one is a self-study where you go in and you work with the things that you're finding. I've got 18 topics, right? So there's the 4 basics of centered writing is the first one that I just talked about, but I've got 18 different topics in there. So it might be interesting for you to really just check it out. If you want more personal support, I also have twice monthly Q&A calls. If you want to be part of that, that's $27 a month. Yeah, still very affordable because it's a small group and you can really get my personal feedback. Okay, that said, check it out. And if you have any questions, let me know, shoot me an email. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.